Hello, Brent from Workspace Admins here. Today we'll show how to copy or move folders from My Drive to Share Drive, either using Rclone or GAM. So folders here, we have folders 1 and 2, and the easiest way, in my opinion, would be to simply drag and drop it to a share drive. So we have these two folders. So I'll just select them both here and try to move it to a share drive called OneDrive. And as you can see, they will fail. This is because these folders both have an externally owned item. So in order for you to do this move or copy operation, I would always recommend that you do a print file list of these folders. So here I have a GAM command that I copied and pasted. So I'll just walk through the syntax here. So GAM user Brian, print file list. So I'm listing the files, selecting the specific folder, asking GAM to return ID, title, MIME type, owner's email address, and regardless of ownership. And I'm also asking GAM to return full path, and I am writing that to a Google Sheet. So once I run it, it'll walk through the folder structure and create a CSV file or Google Sheet rather. So once I open it, as you can see, I have a mix of folders, Google Sheet and document owned by an internal user and an external user. So the first command that we'll take a look at is rclone. So I'll just copy and paste the command here. So I'm first doing a similar command using rclone here as well. So rclone lsf workspace admins _sa. So we are using service account access. So we are impersonating Brian. So similar to GAM, we are asking rclone to just return ID of the file and the path of the file inside this directory. So as you can see, I have the IDs here and the path from Brian's view. So that's how you might use rclone to return the same information that you can using GAM, but GAM obviously returns a little more information than rclone can. So we would definitely recommend using GAM and generating those CSV files or Google Sheet where possible. So the first command that I'll run here is to use rclone copy. So I'm again starting with rclone copy, the name of the remote, which is workspace admins _sa, folder 1. And we also have a shared drive, workspace admins _sd. And we are migrating into or copying those files into a new folder called folder 1. So if I go to OneDrive here, you can see that there is no folder. Again, impersonating Brian, we are using server-side across configuration, meaning that we are asking Google Drive API or rclone to use the Drive API's copy operation rather than downloading and re-upload. And we are also asking rclone to create any folders that might be empty. And -p is just to show the progress in console. So as you can see, folder is now created. Might take a second or two. So that's now finished. If I go to folder 1, empty folder there, and this should have the two files. So that's how you might use rclone to copy, but not move the files from My Drive to Share Drive. So one thing that I'll note here is that moving a drive file or folder. So I'll just grab this folder ID here. So GAM user Brian, update drive file, parent ID, and I'll just grab the parent ID here. So Google doesn't actually allow changing of a parent of a folder into a shared drive for some unknown reason. So there is an issue tracker that I have opened before. So we'll provide a link to that in the video description. So I'll just go back to our clone and finish off this move operation here as well. So I'll just go here, rename this folder, Rclone copy. So next command here is Rclone move. So typically when I'm asked to migrate files from my drive to shared drive, my preference is to use Google Drive GUI where possible. If that's not possible and I run into errors, I generally do a copy of these entire folder structures. And then I generally ask users to move the files. So, and this will show why. So command or the syntax is relatively similar to the copy operation. And as you can see, it's erroring out. So cannot move a file into a shared drive as a writer when the owner of the file and the writer belongs to different domains. So again, this has to do with that external ownership. So this one is a file owner, not member of team drive. So this one I can likely correct. So let's go to OneDrive here, manage members. Let's add. Actually, this person is a unlicensed user. So if I uncheck notify people, again, so this is again Google shared drive limitation where in order to be a contributing member to a shared drive, you need to have a valid workspace license. So again, there are numerous issues with this migration. So we'll just that's why I generally prefer to use a copy operation where possible. So let's just finish off the folder 2. And I'll try to do the same command here. So first is to list the files in the folder. So this folder here similarly structured to folder 1, but you can see that there is a file. So there's a Google form in here, which Rclone cannot copy. So Rclone is generally or designed to be used with file systems or multiple cloud storage systems. So Google Form is a native file that doesn't really exist anywhere. So Rclone cannot copy a form. So that's one thing to watch out for. So I'll clear this and let's just go to this here. And then I'll rename this Rclone move, which failed. So we'll try to copy drive file. So GAM user Brian, copy drive file, folder ID, team drive parent ID, and then recursive. So let's just run it. So can I set the requested role for the user as they lack the necessary license? That again has to do with the fact that Brian at GWS.WTF doesn't have workspace license assigned. So I'll just try to copy permissions false. So I'll try to complete the copy without copying the permissions, but my syntax is wrong. So let's quickly take a look at the wiki here. So users drive copy. Copy file permissions false is what I need. So it may go through this time. So let's take a look. Okay, so there may be some additional flags that I need to add in order to suppress this error, but we are almost at the end of time for this video, so we won't be able to show that. So one more command that I'll try running here is to move the drive file. and it doesn't like the recursive at the end. So if I go back to folder here, so I have folder 2. So that's empty. Yeah, so because of this licensing issue, I have an unresolvable error at this time. So one thing that you can do is you can claim the ownership. So I'll just do this here. Let's try claiming the ownership. GAM user, Brian. Claim ownership. Okay, obviously you cannot claim ownership of a file that's externally owned. So let's try that again. So it does look like some files came in. Internally owned items were moved. However, anything that was owned externally didn't come in. Obviously, we cannot move those items, so that's probably why. So if I go back and claim ownership of folder 1, and let's try to move this again into folder 1 as well. See what kind of errors we get. So let's go to folder 1. So folders are recreated, and this one is empty. So even though we claimed ownership of these files, there are some unresolvable errors. We are not going to get into this video, so we may cover that in another more in-depth video, but these are some of the commands that you can run to copy or move folders into shared drives using GAM or Rclone. Thanks for watching, and leave us a comment below if you have any questions.